Hi guys, I'm Susan, and today we are going to be making our own beaded creations together using the bead box. So follow along and let's make something amazing together. Inside your bead box is another small box that has the cord and two clasps. The first step is removing the cord, measuring what you want to bead onto. So for today, I'm going to make a bracelet. So my first step is measuring my wrist. The key here is that you want to cut the cord a little bit longer than the size of what you're measuring, because you're going to need to tie a couple very strong knots, and knots take up a lot of space. So loosely drape the cord on your wrist and leave a couple inches of extra room. Then snip. I dumped my beads out into a tray, and this makes it easier to see what I have. And also I can devise a pattern before I start beading. I sort of separate the beads and pick a color scheme. And I recommend doing it that way, or you can just do organically, throw some beads on, take them off, keep on going. Sometimes the more creative designs are the ones that you're not even planning. So once you start beading, the great part is you can take off and you can edit. Next step is take 1/2 of your clasp and pull the cord through and tie about 3 very hearty knots. Just the normal knots, the same that you'd use to tie your shoe. Nothing super fancy here. You just want to make sure the knot is as secure as possible. The cord is a little bit slippery, and don't worry, because we're going to find a solution for that shortly. So the knot, at first, if it doesn't stick, it's okay. So now we have our 2 or 3 knots attached to the clasp, and we're going to take a bead. I recommend around this size bead, which comes in the box, and pull the bead over the knot. So you'll have a little bit of a tail, which is fine. We'll take care of that later. You're gonna put the tail and the knot in the bead. So the bead effectively absorbs the knot. No visible knot. Now you have a start, and you can start beading. So as you're beading, something that's very important is that you need to continuously measure the piece on whatever appendage or limb you're making your bracelet, necklace, whatever for. I am holding it onto my wrist, and I'm seeing that I still need to fill some space because I don't really want any clear cord to show. You want all beads, because what's the point of it otherwise? So continuously measure it against your wrist as you're building, and add or subtract. Sometimes you can have too many beads and you might have a piece that's too loose and could slip off, and you don't want that. You want it to fit comfortably on your wrist to the point where you don't really feel it on your skin, but you don't sense that it will slip off either. Okay, after much deliberation, my piece finally fits my wrist. So we have the one side that already has the clasp, and then we have the naked side. So now we take the other piece of the clasp and we tie it through in the same way that we did to begin. So pull it on tight, pull it as close to the bead as you can, and then tie 3 strong knots. So we've tied our knots, and here is my secret magic trick. You take the tail that remains and you pull it back through the bead, and this makes it extra secure. I should add here that ending your piece with a bead that's big enough to pull the tail through is very important. In your bead kit, there's going to be some smaller beads. Don't end your piece with those. It looks cute sometimes, but it's not worth it, because this way you have a very stable piece. So I don't know if you can see, you probably can. You pull the cord through the first bead, and now we have these tails. Annoying, right? Not really. We take our scissors and we cut the cord as close to the bead as possible. Cord removed, tail removed. Oh my God. We've just created an amazing bracelet with our gorgeous clasp. Great to wear, good to go, send to your friends. I love beading. I'm so excited that you guys can share in this with me. The great part about this kit is we've included 2 clasps, enough for 2 beaded pieces, but you'll have extra cord. So you can make beaded pieces without the clasp. The only difference is you'll tie a very strong knot at the end instead of adding the clasp. And if it feels a little bit rickety, you can put a little dab of super glue on the knot and it's extra secure that way too. And in the bead kit, you can make anklets, bracelets, necklaces, belly chains, a necklace for your dog, a bracelet for your dog. Cats can be included too, why not? So enjoy this kit. It brings me a lot of joy to bring joy to you guys, and now you can make beautiful beaded masterpieces from home. Enjoy. Okay guys, so 2 things I need you to remember when you're working with our bead box. 1, make sure that you're continuously measuring your bracelet or necklace as you're building it, because we don't want you to have too many beads and we don't want you to have too few beads. We want it to be a perfect piece. Of course we want that for you. And 2, please tie 2 or 3 extra tight knots because we don't want the piece to break. We want this piece to last forever because you deserve it. Thanks guys.